We have Heath Brooks with us from our friends over at Timberlake and Lead to talk about your legal options.
Yes, good morning. We do already have a caller, so I want to go ahead and hand it over to Bobby. Bobby, what is your question?
I paid a contractor a substantial amount of money for materials to start a house for us, starting from back last August, and he keeps doing just little bits of things at a time, but does not deliver any of those materials that I paid for. What is my next option, or what should I be trying to find out or to do?
Well, you know, Bobby, whenever you and I'm assuming you've already paid him some money for the contract. So when you pay somebody money to provide you materials or to provide you work based on a contract, whether that's working on a house or whether that's doing any other kind of work that you paid money for and you're supposed to get a benefit for that money, you have a right, if they're not doing what they're supposed to do on the terms of that contract, to actually bring a lawsuit against them. What I normally try to recommend to do is try to work it out, let them know, hey, look, you know, we made this contract. You owe me this work. You owe me this material. You're not abiding by the terms of that contract. And at this point in time, I'm either going to have to go and I'm going to have to hire me a lawyer. Or I'm going to have to escalate this and take it to court. And so if you do that and you don't get anything from it, that's probably about the time you need to call and talk to an attorney who handles that kind of work, that contract issues. And hopefully, if you can't get it worked out, you know, you'll hopefully you won't have to. But if you can't get it worked out, then your next form of recourse, the next thing you can do about it is you can go and you can take your dispute to the courts and let the jury or a judge decide it for you. You know, a lot of times that can be it can cost you some money, it can cost you some time, it costs you the work that you need. So, you know, that's a step that you take only unless you absolutely have to. But if you've been trying for several months to get this fella to work with you and he's not working with you, the next option is you need to contact a lawyer and see if you have to take this matter to the courts.
We see a lot of stories like that in the news of people saying that they got taken advantage of by a contractor. Yeah. But there's another timely topic too while we wait for our next caller I want to bring up, and that is, of course, this time of year we see a lot of spring storms. What should you do if you get damage at your home? Maybe timely because we just talked about contractors.
Well, you know, there's a few things you need to do. The first thing you need to do is you need to check out your insurance policy and see what your insurance policy covers. This is the time of year, we all know it. We're in Huntsville, one of the most dangerous places for spring storms and tornadoes in the entire nation. So one of the things we need to do is protect ourselves in advance. So take a look at your insurance policy. See if your insurance policy covers flood damage. You know, we hear about the tornadoes and we hear about those sorts of things, but most of the damage to houses during storms comes from water. And a lot of your insurance policies will not pay for damage caused by flooding. So the first thing you need to do is check that out. Now, if you do have heavy wind damage, if you do have trees falling on your roof or things of that nature, what you would want to do, once everybody's safe, is take photos of the damage and contact your insurance company. You know, we often hear with these spring storms, hail damage, and that's one thing that really affects folks' roofs. And so when you have a problem, if you've had hail at your house, one of the things you need to do is contact potentially a roofing company that works with insurance companies to at least have your roof evaluated to see if you've had hail damage. Because if you had, it may not be readily apparent right after the storm, but sometime down the road your roof starts leaking, you don't know why, and it was because that hail damage previously.
We do have another caller. Howie has a question. Howie, what is that question?
Yeah, I have a friend who owned a house, and there was a separate mortgage on it that was foreclosed, but it wasn't his mortgage, and he went to circuit court and he lost and filed an appeal, but didn't put up a bond. In the meantime, the mortgage company that got possession of the house kicked him out, and we want to find out if we win the appeal and the case gets reversed, how does he get the house back? Does the mortgage company just give it back to him? If they rented it out, does the renter have to leave, or does the renter have, if they have a new renter, does they have to pay him the rent, or if they sold it, does the mortgage company have to pay the proceeds to him? How does that work on a reversal?
A lot of unpacking there, but the first thing you need to worry about is if there was a mortgage on that property when your friend purchased it, then they probably would have had title insurance on the house. And so the title insurance company is supposed to address those issues and ensure that there is no mortgage on that property before transferring it. First thing I would look for is to see who the title insurance company was, and you may have a claim against that title insurance company for not doing the proper research. However, if that house did have a mortgage on it and it was encumbered, that's the fancy legal term for having a mortgage on the house that's preventing its sale. If it was encumbered by a mortgage, it's going to be very difficult for you to get that house from the mortgage company if it wasn't paid and if it was foreclosed upon. I would contact a lawyer immediately.